Rakesh, I actually shuttle between Mumbai and Delhi, Gurgaon. So I'm right now in Mumbai. We will meet up.
Okay. So I'm out of Mumbai at the moment, but we'll catch up
Okay.
next time.
Yes, sure. Absolutely.
Super. Snigdha, shall we start?
Go ahead.
Great. So, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to partners from our 7 chapters, nonprofits, and to each and every one of you to this SVP India learning session. Before we start, just a quick word on who we are and the work we do. Social Venture Partners India is a community of very diverse and a vibrant a set of individuals who are engaged philanthropists. We promote the venture model of giving. We build the capacity of the nonprofits that we work with and really help them scale and grow and thrive. We go beyond checks. Our partners give their time, their expertise, bring all their networks and resources together to support the nonprofits that we work with. And over the last decade that we've been in India, we've grown to 7 cities. We have over 330 individual partners in these chapters engaged and active in the sector. We have 15 corporate partners, and we've worked with over 100 nonprofits and given over 25 crores of grants. And our vision really is to enable the philanthropic journeys of individuals. We also give them a platform to engage with philanthropy. We also want them to learn and grow through opportunities that we provide. And with that, let me give it to Snigdha, my colleague Snigdha, to talk a little bit about the learning series that we do.
Very, very good evening to all of you. It's thank you so much for joining this event, and I'm sure it's going to be a good learning experience for you all, as much as we enjoyed curating it with Vinita ji. So the learning sessions are an attempt to understand the impact sector beyond what we do at SVP. It enables our partners and other interested in the sector to explore topics that are unique and will throw light on issues not many discuss in the usual course of the day. The sessions are designed to interest our partners, the NGOs, and the broader community of stakeholders, such that they learn from the time they invest in listening into these sessions. Move ahead. So we have someone very special today, Vinita Singh, founder and managing trustee, We the People Abhiyan. We the People Abhiyan focuses on empowering citizens through constitutional awareness. Vinita has a natural inclination and prowess in finding solutions for social justice issues through active dialogue and consultation. She strives to forge meaningful engagements with stakeholders, including people at the grassroots, government agencies, corporations, civil society organizations, and associations. She has studied management at the SP Jain Institute in Mumbai and social policy at London School of Economics. And throughout her career, spanning of over 25 years, her main focus has been in building people's capacity on rights and responsibilities within our democratic and constitutional framework. At the center of all her efforts is her will to empower all citizens to stand up for human rights. So when we really spoke to Vinita and understood how philanthropy and rights and the constitution, our preamble are linked, we just thought that we must have this session for you all. So over to Vinita.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. It's a bit disconcerting to see your own photograph staring back at you. But thank you for that introduction. And I'm really, really happy to be here this evening with all of you. And I do know that evenings are times that you really have to carve out from other commitments. So thank you for being here. Just starting off by saying a little bit about We the People before we dive into the work that we are, what we are here for, which is to look at how we live the constitution that we have with us, which is the topic of today's learning series. I'll just say a bit about We the People. And Ishita from our team is helping me, through this presentation and discussion today. So just briefly, while Snigdha and Gunjali have talked about what We the People does, essentially the mission that we have is to empower all citizens, and it's a very big mission that we've set for ourselves. But it is to empower all citizens to own, understand, and practice constitutional values, rights, and responsibilities in our lives and in the communities that we work with. So that's the mission that we've set ourselves for. And the reason why we feel this is an important cause to devote our time, effort, and funds towards is that we believe that the Constitution is a cause in itself in a democracy like India. The Constitution is the foundational document. It's the document that is the bedrock of our rights and responsibilities. And as we go about our lives, looking at the challenges that we face and setting aspirations for ourselves, we believe the more we understand this document, the more effective our actions on the ground are going to be, and the better our lives are going to be. And actually, the Constitution is that document that touches all aspects of our lives. And therefore, to make it better, it's a huge tool that we can have, a very powerful tool that we can have to do that. So we believe this is something that all of us must be able to access and understand. And how we do it is essentially through capacity building programs and through raising awareness, through workshops, short citizen cafes, we call them, which we do all across the country in short formats, online, offline, in English, in Hindi, in Marathi, Gujarati, different languages. Today, of course, we are going to be doing this session. This Citizen Cafe will be in English. So while we've been at this for the last, I think we started in 2010. Ishita, if we could move to the next slide. Yeah, we've really focused on, given the broad vision that we have, we've really focused on partnerships. It's through these partnerships with educational institutions, civil society organizations, and loose informal citizen networks that we've been able to expand our reach in many states in the country. And also, it's through these partnerships that we've been able to train facilitators who then continue to take the message of the Constitution and active citizenship forward in the communities. So that's really the way in which we've tried to make this understanding accessible to larger and larger numbers of citizens. Today is an important day for us and for us all, actually, because we are moving into 26th November, which is Constitution Day. And therefore, when SVP and we were talking, Gunjali and Snigdha and I, we were talking, we thought that this day would be such an appropriate day to move into what the Constitution is telling us, look at some aspects of it, and see what sense it makes to us in our everyday life. So really, today is going to be that journey. And I hope that we'll be able to have, a deeper sense of what this means, but also have a lot of questions at the end of it. And so just allow me to take you through this journey and then discuss a little bit more later towards the end of the session. So let me show you this document. It'll be up on the screen. This is the preamble of the Constitution of India. I just have a question which my colleague Ishita is going to put out on the chat box. And it's a very simple question. Where have you seen this last? This one page that is in front of you. Where have you seen it last? So Ishita is going to put that out in the WhatsApp. In the chat box, and we are using a tool called the Mentimeter. We'd like each one of you to just answer this question: where have you seen this one page last? Or is it when or where? Ishita, the question is when or where?
Where?
Huh?
Where?
Okay, so I've got that right. Okay. So everybody will get this question. Everybody needs to click on the link and just input, where have you seen this last? Okay. So your responses, of course, all of you have used Mentimeter. As you keep writing the responses, they will be available for all of us to see here. Okay, on my mobile screen. Okay. Okay. Some of you actually have a printed copy of the Constitution, and so you've seen it there. That's interesting. Not many people have a copy of the Constitution. So this is really interesting to see. Okay, my school's entrance. Oh, all right. That's nice. That's really, my school didn't have it, at the entrance. I wish it had. But okay, in civics class, in the history book, 16 stormy days. That's okay. That's the book. Yeah, right. I got it. Interesting that you saw it there. At my home, more power to you. I really feel it should be in everybody's home. So I'm glad that someone has it at your home. The civics textbook.
What are the plans this weekend? Can I do my mail interview this weekend?
Sorry, is someone saying something? Okay.
No, Vinita, go on. I'll take care of muting.
Take it. No, I just thought there was a question, right? Okay, same place you saw it. Well, I don't know which place that is, but
that was me. That was Vinita. That was me, Louis.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Louis, for that. Yes, I saw it in your study, and I was glad to see it there. Right. Okay. So in school, and Abhijit is saying that my son is a lawyer and he has this habit of picking up the Constitution. Wonderful. More power to you also. Yeah. Any other comments? If there are, just please just put them there. So if you see this, what's come up in front of us, we know that we've seen it sometime. All of us at some time have seen it in school. We've seen it in some books that you might have read, and some of us actually know it very well, courtesy our son or someone else who keeps pushing it in front of us. But today is really about bringing this to our consciousness. So this document, the Constitution and its preamble, which is really the crux of the Constitution, what we are doing today is to bring it into our consciousness, to see what sense it makes for us every day, to make it, in a sense, visible to us. That's really the intent of this session today. So let's work towards that, right? I want one of us to read it aloud. Would anybody like to volunteer? I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Thank you for these answers, but we'll move it on. Oh, wow. Shiv has an, Suvarna says that Shiv has an old silk scroll. I would love to see that. Thank you for those comments. It's wonderful to see that, the engagement here. Thank you for that. Right, so we've got the preamble up here. Would anybody volunteer to read it aloud? Anyone?
We have a podcaster and poet amongst us. And I
Okay.
thought he was going to kill me later, but Mr. Bhandari.
Would you like to?
Okay, sure. Snigdha. The Constitution of India. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Thank you. Thank you, Sunil, for that. This is the Constitution starts almost with this one page, which is the preamble, and then the themes from this preamble, the themes continue throughout the book. What I'd like to just request all of you at the moment, we've highlighted 4 words here: justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. Using just the same tool, I'd like all of us to think about one more question, and let's see what we can make out of it. The question is, from these highlighted words, can you pick or select one word that matters the most to you? Perhaps a word that without which perhaps your life may not have been where you are, or where you are at this time of your life. Perhaps that word has contributed towards making it what it is, or just that it matters very much to you. And if you could pick that word and put it out on the link that we've sent you, and also say, if possible, in a line or so, why does it matter so much to you? So we're putting out a link with these questions. Just take a bit of time to reflect on that question. Select that one of these 4 words that matters most to you. And perhaps share with us, why does it matter so much to you? Ishita is again putting out that link on the yeah, she's already done that. Take a couple of minutes. Let's reflect on this, and would love to see what you share with us. Ishita, you could put out the preamble again. Okay, yeah, all right. So fine. That's okay. That's okay. The words were justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. The one word that matters most to you, and why does this word matter so much? We'll wait a minute more, just if everyone can contribute and think about and share. Okay. I think maybe some more come. Okay, so, in terms of just being able to understand this as values words, these are, and some of you have also put down why one or another word here is so important to you. Everything flows from it. It talks about coexistence. I think there's also something around important to have freedom, but also bedrock. I think it's split up here, but for one of you, it's justice is the bedrock of human existence. And Abhijit is writing that justice because it's an unnatural nation of disparate people. It's wonderfully put, Abhijit. And this actually is a very interesting aspect of our constitution. These values that are center staged in the preamble and flow through the entire constitution. These value words are words that we pick up because they mean a lot to us. It may mean differently for different people. For me, for instance, freedom is a core value. I just feel that if I wasn't free, maybe I just wouldn't be human. And it could be different for different people. But these are core human values. And these core human values make the foundation of our entire existence or our abilities as citizens. Now, we have to see that, therefore, to understand that it is human values that were put as the core because it was also smart to do it. Couple of reasons. One, as Abhijit said, that it was really smart to do that. Because if you looked at our nation at that point, first of all, it wasn't really a nation. It was number of principalities, different kingdoms, some parts which were aggregated by the British, but really a nation, maybe not that thought. And therefore, I like the word that you used, Abhijit, unnatural union. Yeah. But so we were forging a union. And if you looked about you at that time and even today, what you saw were very disparate people. People so different from each other that they possibly couldn't even have a conversation in a language that two people could understand. So disparate that there would be cultures of which I would have no idea. So disparate that what I eat is not what another person could think of eating. That disparate number of people had to come together. And the only thing that could possibly hold us together was a foundation on human values. because that's the only thing that we thought we had common, that we were all human beings. And that is the reason why these human values that you connect with, which matter to you, are the foundation of our Constitution. Also, just as a historical background, these human values and therefore the emerging human rights conceptualization was happening across the world. We had just come out of the Second World War internationally in the world. In 1946, the United Nations was discussing human rights as the basis of interaction. Again, stunned by what had happened perhaps in the Second World War. And human values, human rights were being talked about. And then, of course, in 1946, the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights was being put together. It was at that historical moment that we got independence. And it is that we picked up as something that we will hold core. But I can say to you that we were one of the first countries to have done that. And I can also say this to you, that despite the United Nations Declaration, there are many countries around the world who would not have these 4 values put out as the core of their scheme of things, their scheme of the nation, and their scheme of governance. So it's an important idea to hold for us that the Constitution of India is really built on the foundation of human values. Ishita, if we can just go to the next slide, please. And that is a paramount understanding that we need to have, because it is from this fundamental human values that are loud and clear in the preamble that you will see the themes of this going right across all the parts of the Constitution, all 22 parts of the Constitution. This sort of details it out. You'll bring it out, they broaden it out, but it is based on these fundamental values. So let's look at and understand that essentially the preamble to the Constitution is a values document, very much like perhaps a values document that any organization brings together, puts out, and then expects each one of the employees to. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Very much like a value statement that organizations might have. So with that, we also see it as a resolution statement. And I'll just take you through a bit of that right now. Ishita, can we go forward? Yeah. If we look at the preamble, and Sunil beautifully read it out for us, if you look at it, it's essentially just one line. There are commas, but there's a full stop only at the end. It's one line, one long, powerful line. And it's written as a resolution that the people of India are taking. So just deep diving into this, and please stay with me through this. We, the people of India, are taking a resolution here. And so if you look a little ahead, we are saying having solemnly resolved. It's a solemn resolution. And what is this resolution? There are actually 3 resolutions. In this whole line, there are 3 resolutions. Ishita, the first resolution: to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. To constitute India into such a form, the design, the structure, the way in which the state will look, the mechanism. This is how the mechanism will look. This is how we constitute ourselves. The first resolution. The state will be sovereign, independent, socialist, secular, democratic, and a republic where the head of the state will be a position where any of us, any citizen can aspire and can become. This is the state of India and the state that we constitute. Resolution number 1. Resolution number 2. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to secure to all its citizens. It's the second resolution. We secure to all our citizens justice, liberty, equality. The resolution number 2 is to secure to all citizens. And then let's look at resolution number 3. You can see also the way in which the verbs are put out. The third resolution, moving away from using the word secure, the third resolution uses the word to promote. And what are we resolving to promote? To promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. This is what we will promote. And the 3 resolutions then end with a ownership clause where we say, we the people of India. So if you look at just the top, the heading, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved all the 3 resolutions. And then the last, which is really the enabling clause or the ownership clause, which is we hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. And it ends really with this idea that this document is owned by we, the people of India. It's important to look at it in light of perhaps a couple of other preambles. For instance, A, that there is no name here. The preamble of Pakistan has Jinnah's name. Preamble of China has the Communist Party of India named. In that light, to look at this one page to see that it's talking really about we, the people of India, giving to ourselves this constitution. And this theme of ownership, this theme that this is a document of rights and responsibilities, because not only am I to secure for myself these values of justice, liberty, equality, I am meant to also secure to all citizens. These words are written in a way that actually establish rights and responsibilities almost in the same breath. That one line which we might want to say without taking another breath. But that's essentially what the Constitution or the essence of the Constitution is. Ishita, if you can move to the next slide. I'd just like us to think about it in a way that the 2 words that actually reflect what the Constitution is an ownership document. Clearly, none of the people who made the Constitution are owners of this document. There were 300 people. They are taking the resolution on behalf of we, the people of India. We, the people of India of the past, the present, and the future. We, the people of India, are all those people who we agree with and all those people we vehemently disagree with. Those are all we, the people of India. And therefore, when we think about ourselves, I think in the same breath, we have to think about that person who we do not agree with, who's also equally we, the people of India. Establishing ownership and then establishing rights and duties is what essentially the Constitution of India does. It establishes the rights of citizens, the rights of the state. What are the duties of the state towards citizens? What are the duties of citizens towards the state? And what are the duties of citizens towards each other? That is fundamentally the Constitution of India. And looking at then this one page, it moves on to part 1, which establishes what the Union of India looks, unnatural or not. Part 2 talks about who is a citizen of India. And then it comes to part 3, which is our fundamental rights, non-negotiable. And then moves on to part 4, which is directive principles, but also a very important part, which is fundamental duties. Those duties were included in the 42nd Amendment in 1946. But I'd just like us to have a look at these duties because they are very interesting. And also they sort of point out some of those things that maybe all of us already engage in. So Ishita, can we have that there? This is part 4A of the Constitution. I'd really encourage you all to look at that Constitution and look at part 4A there, but we've put it out in front of you on this slide. These are a set of fundamental duties, part 4A. I'd just like all of you to just, just give it some thought. I'll give you a couple of minutes to just look at these duties because there's a question coming towards you after this. Just if you could look at these duties in front of you. We've tried to put them in a form that are easier to engage with and look at. I'll just give a couple of minutes for you to look at these duties. I'll perhaps also take a minute to just speak it out, just so that it's there. It shall be the duty of every citizen of India, number 1, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. Number 2, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspire our national struggle for freedom. Number 3, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. Number 4, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Number 5, to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Just gonna, to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, to have compassion to living creatures, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence. Number 10, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. And number 11, which is actually recently added into these duties, which is who is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. These are the fundamental duties given in Part 4A of the Constitution. So the question that I'd like you to all think about is, could you identify, or if you could pick up one of these duties that you relate most to, especially in the work that you do, in the contributions that you make at SVP, or any work that you are connected to. Can you look at and think and reflect on any fundamental duty that resonates with that work that you do? If you could think about that, there is a link again, trying to get more voices in. Okay, Louis, can you hold that question? We're going to have discussions at the end, just bear with me, but very interesting to have that question. Just a question coming out, Ishita, if you could help me. And Ishita, if we can stop having, I mean, we don't need to have all the answers looking at them. I'd like the duties out there till such a point where you feel that we could show the Mentimeter what it is displaying.
Yeah. I just need to put the link here. So.
Sure. Please, if you could do that. It's very interesting to do this online also, in the sense that most of the times we are actually deep diving into this preamble. You know, we are together offline, physically present. Online is interesting as well, to be at least have some voices coming in and maybe engaging in that way. So this is a question that's coming out to you. Ishita, if you can just show that question once and then go back to the fundamental duties slide. The number of fundamental duties that we are, and this is, sort of stated duties. So which one of these duties do you most connect with in your contributions at SVP, or more broadly in the work that you do? So that's the question that's coming to you. And if we can have the duties on, Ishita, then after a bit of time, you could show what the inputs have been. Yeah, but I'm just putting out those duties here again for you. Which is that one duty that you connect most to? There might be a few here, but okay. Ishita, is it possible to? I'd like each one of us to please share and contribute. Yeah, okay. Okay. That's interesting. Composite culture, right? Strive for excellence, education. Yeah. Okay. The environment. Yeah. I think natural resources, and that's really a big theme also for many of us. Yeah. I think equality seems also a big theme. It's a big theme in the in across the constitution. Equality and justice sort of going perhaps hand in hand. Using justice also as a way to achieve equality. Compassion, the ideals. That's interesting. Strive for excellence is an all, sort of an all enabling kind of duty. Yeah. 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 Thanks. Thank you everyone for that. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at this, if you look at what connects with us, we will see that actually each one of us is already working every day when we sort of get up and get out and do our work, whatever we are engaged with. We're fundamentally performing or are engaged in one, maybe more of these activities, of this work that is there. This is not something out there. Perhaps we don't think of it as a fundamental duty that we perform. Perhaps we haven't, engaged with the framework in such a way to say, "Aaj jab main uthta hu, today when I get up, I am going to be performing this fundamental duty which has been given to me by the Constitution." It doesn't really happen in that way. As we go about our lives as human beings, as people who care and think about each other, all of us are actually performing these duties. On the other hand, as we go in and get down from where we live, we use an auto rickshaw or we use our cars to go from one place to the other. We are actually practicing the right that we have to move from one place to the other. If we take a train or take a flight from one place to any other place in this country, we are exercising our rights to be able to move. When we come together in this forum here and
Recording in progress.
With each other, we are again practicing the values. I'm sorry, practicing the values that are actually enshrined in our Constitution. It's really, the most fundamental idea of the Constitution is that it is part of our everyday life. All that we derive from them. Today, when I'm speaking to you as a woman, if that word equality did not dominate the preamble and the Constitution of India, if then there were no laws or to protect my access to that equality, perhaps I may not have been able to speak to you today. today, as I'm doing that, I am exercising that human value. I'm exercising my right to speak to you equally and freely. And that's the power the Constitution has for me every day. As I go about my life, you know, the most the duty that I connect with is towards the spirit of inquiry. I question all the time, every time, everything that I do, everything that others do. But what the Constitution helps me, this understanding helps me in, is that I'm able to see that connection and operate from that belief that actually I am to secure for myself and for others these values. And every day as I devote my life to the spirit of inquiry, it's really a duty that I have been given to do. And that perhaps is really the resolution and the message this Constitution has for all of us. I just want to stop here for a minute to see, what does this mean for us here then? Is there a question we have here? Does this engage, does it inspire a thought that you might have? So at this moment, I just want to, before we bring everything to a close with certain thoughts that I would like us all to go away with, I want to stop here and ask, what thoughts do you have at this moment? Questions, thoughts, comments. I'd really like for us to engage on that. What does this invoke for you? What does this make you think of? What does this mean to you?
Can I have an attempt at that, Vinita? Adnan here.
Yes, yes, please.
So really inspiring. Firstly, just listening to you, such a basic document that we've all heard of some civics class in school, and we just took it for granted. And when you go through it line by line, you realize how rich it is. It's absolutely incredible. The guys who wrote this, and you know, when they put it all together, what brilliant people and what a big mind they all had. What big minds they all had. I think the key thing that's coming to my mind is, you know, how is this brought to life for the wider country in terms of, you know, translating the different language? Does it read as well in Hindi or in Marathi or in Gujarati or in any other language? Because the English is absolutely brilliant. I don't know what it reads like in the other. Is it translatable?
Oh my God. In Hindi, it's amazing.
Thank you, Suvarna, for that.
Yeah, it is actually, to me, it actually evokes even more feeling inside when you hear some of those words, the four main words. I think it has so much more deeper meaning in it, in my opinion.
I must read it then.
Thanks. Yes.
Read it.
So Adnan, it has been,
Yeah.
the Constitution itself has been translated into 15 or 16 languages. So the preamble is in all these languages, of course. We don't have, for instance, in Santhali and a few others, but actually at We the People, we have the preamble in all the 15 that we could get hold of. So the Department actually of Languages is continuously translating and bettering its attempt at doing that, because you're absolutely right. The essence has to be translated, you know, and so we have official versions in 15 languages, and it is available, therefore, for all those people in those languages to be able to read. And I personally have read it in in 4 languages, and they read, well, I would say 19-20, there's some words that come out even more strongly in the language of, in another language, but some don't. There's an interesting thing, Adnan, just for you to know, that, the word secular, it is in Hindi, it's written as Panth Nirpeksh, not as Dharm Nirpeksh, which we normally understand as. But Panth actually gives it a broader meaning than even religion. It means that you will be fair and equal, or not have, the state will not actually have any religion, official religion, and it will have no official allegiance to any ideology. That's broadly what it means in Hindi. So it's very interesting to look at that as well. I totally recommend for you to have it's available online in different languages. So please do look at that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Adnan. That was a very interesting question. Thank you. I think Louis has a hand up.
Yeah, so so it's good. You saw this was the constitution that I have behind my desk, and I think your session was great because it sort of made us relook at certain clauses and words that are so important. And there was a question which someone asked, Adnan, I think, asked about the different languages. It's a huge challenge we have at ISPP. We started India's first Hindi program in public policy. And the challenge we had was no good textbooks in Hindi. A huge problem. So we had to actually get books in English translated into Hindi. And that's a lot of effort required. And but that's something which we committed to do, but it is a challenge as we need to get more of these books. Otherwise, it becomes difficult for this information to get out. The other thing was, as I was telling Vinita, when we launched ISPP, we launched it at the Constitution Club, because the Constitution is what really drives everything that we have. And as you said, the privilege to sit over here and have this conversation also comes from the Constitution. It's not only the duties, but it's also the ability and the rights that we have that come from it. Thank you, Vinita, for this.
Thank you, Louis. I think you did have a question earlier, which I'm just going to try and put it out. Which of these duties were in the original constitution? Just want to quickly say that actually the duties were not in the original constitution, the entire lot of them. So part 4A was added into the constitution by the 42nd Amendment in 1976. And at that time, the last duty that you see about guardian and ward on education, that duty was not there. But the entire portion of fundamental duties was added in 1976. It was not part. So in the original conceptualization of the Constitution, there was no duties written down, because if you look at the preamble, it actually says that it's your rights and duties are going hand in hand. Because if you have to secure something for yourself, you also have to remember that you have to secure to somebody else. If I want to speak freely, I will have to allow for others to speak freely, even if you don't agree with them. And that actually is a big ask of each one of us here today. Are we ready to listen to and allow for freedom of speech the way people want to use it? And therefore, if I want to secure that for myself, am I ready to secure it for others, even if you find what they say repugnant? That's the ask of the citizen of India. So in the original conceptualization, there was no fundamental duties written at all. It was understood as a responsibility and rights document, hand in hand. That's how it was understood. Yeah, right. Any other thoughts, comments, questions? Just, actually, Ishita has kindly put out a link on the chat, which is the link to the legislative, it's the website legislative.gov.in, which actually, makes available to us the Constitution of India in different languages. So, it's the official versions. And I actually don't feel that we should be taking any other version other than the official version. So do refer to that if you'd like to see the Constitution in any other language. Rakesh, your hand is up. I'm just checking if there's others as well. Please pardon me if I'm not able to. Yeah, Rakesh, please, aap bataएं.
So, Vinita, you beautifully explained that the bedrock of the preamble is really human values.
Yes.
Now, in that sense, the underlying applicability is global in nature. However, this is the Constitution of India. So, any comments you offer on this dynamic?
Right. That's interesting as well. So the constitution makers, and I would say we are still, making it in a way, right? We've over these years, but the way the constitution makers looked at these words was really in the context of this country, and in the context of, Abhijit, I'm going to constantly quote you on this unnatural union that we were going to be forming. It truly was that. So, imagine you're sitting 1946, you complete this document 1949, and then, sort of adopt it 1950. This is the time the Constitution was being made, right? You have this framework of human values, right? But what you see around, so it talks about, equality and these words, but what you see around you is bloodshed. What you see around you is packs of trains coming in with people having killed each other. What you see around you is, you're saying equality, but what you have is 6% of the women at that time were educated. Many of them would not get out of their homes. Many of them, when you ask them their names, would say, "Main iski patni hu." That was the context in which you were bringing this value into play. So the way in which then the makers took these values was to then determine a set of human rights that were essential for this country. So freedom of religion, for instance, a secular state, but freedom of religion for each one of us. The conceptualization was very different from the way in which the French understood secular, right? So it was all in the context of this country, the disparity in this country, the diversity of this country, the practices of untouchability, for instance, that were prevalent then and may continue to be a stigma even today. It was in the context of this nation that we were hoping to become, that fundamental rights were put down. And even more than that, part 4 of the Constitution then went a step ahead and said that there will not only be the protection of rights, but there will be a promotion of welfare. And it put down the directive principles, which in the light of this country will become very important. So the values dominates the entire piece, but the languaging and the implementation is seen in the context of the reality of this country. And that is why the Constitution is also seen as a document of social transformation for this country. It's a vision of where we have to be, where are we going, because the definition of equality will keep changing. I'm pretty sure they never had a conceptualization of the number of groups who will stand up, use that value of equality and say, you know what, we are not being treated equal today. And next 50 years, you will have some group standing up and saying, you know what, you guys are not treating us equal. And that therefore gives the flexibility to the constitution, but also gives it some basis. Ki human values ka basis hote hue, this is the way we will constantly interpret it. Yeah? I hope, Rakesh, I've sort of given you a broad vision of it. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I think, there's lots of questions that can keep coming. And we are out here to, at any point, please reach out to us. But I'm going to be actually leaving you with a couple of questions, some thoughts for you to think about after this session. And those thoughts are, Ishita, if you could just put them out. I think looking at this document as one that is an everyday practice, looking at it as something that these values mean to us, every day they mean something to us. Every day we are practicing these values. Every day we are practicing these values within our families. And I can tell you, having 2 children, a boy and a girl, I'm constantly challenged at home with respect to the value of freedom, with respect to the value of equality. I'm constantly challenged. And so I'm going to put this out to you now, that when you look at these values, and right at the start, you looked at one value that matters most to you. And it's a very personal thing why it matters most to you. It must be an experience that you had. It may be something that you deeply believe in. But the question now is, can you think of one action that perhaps you can take to secure to others? Because that's the ask from you. Not just to secure to yourself, but to secure to others that value that matters most to you. What will you do to secure to others that value? It could be any sphere of influence that you might have, your home, your workplace, anywhere. And the second thought or question I would like to leave you with is that, looking at the fundamental duties that you already are devoting your time to, would you be able to think of how you will enhance those actions at your work at SVP, in the partners that you work with, in the time that you give towards it? What is the way in which you would enhance those actions towards that constitutional duty? Because I think it's the awareness of that action which might have a number of more answers for you to delve into going forward. So here is an invitation to you. I hope that you will think about it, reflect on it, and take it forward from here. This document is yours and mine. And the more we look at it, engage with it, refer to it, not to be mugged up as an exam in any case, but refer to it, look at it, and, perhaps use it as a guide for our own behavior in the spheres that we work with. So I'm going to close here, just leave with you these thoughts, and leave with you also some of our connections that you could make with us. Ishita, if you could please set them out here. All these platforms where we are constantly engaging with people, not just in a training of trainers media, but also on social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, and all those places where we all find ourselves and where our voices matter. So I would also encourage you to please look at our YouTube. We are constantly making materials, videos that may be able to shed some of a constitutional lens to everyday issues. You know, cow slaughter, things around why certain decisions, the hijab, so many things every day, they are out there. We try to present those issues through a constitutional lens. So do have a look at those YouTube videos as well. And one I would recommend is a video that we've made on the making of the Indian Constitution. It's doing very well. I believe the views are very high. But I would ask you to look at it with 26th November coming up, the Constitution Day coming up. Maybe if you could spend 5-6 minutes of your time looking at that making, I think it will have a lot of food for thought for all of us here. So I would just like to thank you all for being with us today, and good evening, good night. Thank you.
Vinita, thank you. This session was just superbly insightful. And, you know, when Sunil was just reading the Constitution, just like goosebumps and whatnot. I think taking away a huge amount of gratitude that the work we do in the sector and do it with so much confidence and demand these things for our beneficiaries. And we have that confidence because of this document, because of the power this document gives us, right? And I think that's something that I'm taking away, and I'm sure other people are taking away a lot of really interesting insights. We don't look at this document enough, I think. But thank you for, like Snigdha said, waking a part of our brain that that we haven't used in a while. Please follow We the People Abhiyan for more inspiration on the Constitution, and at SVP we keep bringing you learning sessions, so please keep following us for more sessions in the future. With that, good evening and thank you.